Right.
Hello and welcome to Midweek Gaming. We're back once again. I can't remember what episode number we are, but there we go.
50?
48?
No,
48, I believe.
Title.
Yeah, that's probably it. 48 episode. 48.
Not 69.
Thanks for that. No. If you want a good graphic or background or thumbnail or logo making, check out the Graphic Gods website, www.xboxgamerpix.com, and it'll sort you out there. This week we've got a first-time guest, Pong Soul. How are you doing? It's been too long. It's been long overdue. Yes.
You've been avoiding me, Stubbs. That's why. See, I've been willing to come on a long time ago, but nope. Stubbs going to have little old Pong Soul on the show, so we got a bunch of big shots on here. So you know what? You got to keep up your reputation.
Well, we've got Mr. Forbes at the bottom, haven't we?
That's right. We do have Mr. Forbes in the bottom there. No, it's great to be here, Stubbs. Thank you so much for the invite. Obviously, I've been watching you guys for a very long time, and you and I did the community spotlight that one time, you know how much I love you, brother. So it's great to finally get on the show and get to hang with all of you fine gentlemen.
Yes, it's definitely, that was a long while ago. I'm sure that was last year, December time, weren't it?
No, it was a little bit after because maybe it was December.
The whole period was a blur to me. That was.
Yeah, because I think it was probably before I was even really podcasting. Yeah, probably.
It might have
probably.
Been, yeah.
I think you're right, Stubbs.
And now we can't shut him up.
That's correct.
No, he's everywhere.
Pandora's box has been opened, so that's what happens.
Exactly. You been playing many games, Pong?
Of course. Yeah. I've been a beta tester for about the past 2 weeks now with Halo and then Battlefield. So I was all over those. Got in a great session for Back 4 Blood the other night, the opening night, launch night. So that's been fantastic. And then otherwise, there's been so many games dropping into Game Pass, like Phoenix Point from the ex-creator of XCOM, which is just awesome turn-based strategy game. Absolutely love it. So I've been all over the place. I'm a grazer. I found out, I don't know if you guys listen to any of my other shows, but I found out from Jez over at Windows Central that Microsoft actually has a name for the type of player I am, which is a grazer. So I am Pong the Grazer. Oh. Yes.
You and I are the same type. We kind of do a little bit of everything.
Yes. We try out many games, finish few, but we are all over the place, and that's the way I am. So
Stubbs has stopped asking me what games I play every week. This is too damn long.
I know. Well, that's why I cut mine down. So
yeah, exactly. Anyway, animated Evil. How are you?
Hello. It's awesome to be here. Thank you very much. Great to see the excellent Pong Soul join us today. We have podcasted before once upon a time, I believe. It's an absolute honor to have you on the show.
Thank you,
as always. And before you ask, yes, I have also been playing games this week. So I spent a little bit of cash and I bought Far Cry 6. Loving that so far. So Far Cry, shall I say, because it is just another iteration of Far Cry. It doesn't do anything amazing if you're sort of used to the series, but it's a good game. Okay. It's fun. The characters are brilliant. And yesterday I purchased a little game called Circuit Superstars, doesn't it? Is that the title of it? Yes, which it's an indie game I've been looking forward to for so long. And a shout out to the indie gamer and Dazarus for alerting me that it was available yesterday. It just flashed up and I thought, gotta buy it. And if you don't know what Circuit Superstars is, I'm sure you all remember back in the day, we're all old enough. Remember in the arcades, you had that big square machine with the 4 racing wheels around it? And it was like the RC trucks.
That's correct.
It looks like that, yeah, but it's modern day physics. It's so good.
Anime, let me ask you a quick question. Is it as sim as Art of Rally is as far as the driving? I don't know if you played Art of Rally. I should have asked you that first. But
I've played Art of Rally. I've played Art of Rally as well. I played it last weekend on my Twitch stream. Yeah, and it's a little less sim.
Okay.
Well, it is a little more arcadey unless you go wrong. If you hit the grass, you're going off.
Okay. So stay on the track.
Yeah. So it is. It's both very sim if you go wrong. Yeah. But if you're on the track, it's a little more arcadey than Art of Rally.
Gotcha.
It's difficult. It's really difficult to explain how it is.
Yeah.
But the visuals take you back to the old days.
Yeah.
And the gameplay brings you back in. It brings you right back into now.
Yeah. So, I thought of RC Pro-Am the minute I saw it on Nintendo. Yeah. Man, that's what I thought of. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's where we're at. And those have been my games this week.
Good to hear. Some good games there. I purchased that game tonight because Indie Gaming messaged me saying, "Do you want to play?" So I thought, well, I've got about 25 quid's worth of Microsoft points. So I went and bought it, and I played a few games. I'm terrible, but getting better. I am. And you nearly played the game with Reanimated, didn't you? Nearly.
I nearly.
I went wrong.
Well, I was busy making a video and watching you guys on YouTube, but I've recently reset my laptop and I've lost a license to one of my video programs that I can't bloody find again. Silly me, I know, silly me. I'll find it. It'll be in my emails somewhere.
Mojave?
So,
is it Mojave?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it'll be in your emails. That will.
Yeah, it will. I've got the license for it somewhere, and so it's a case of I'm giving up right now. And I thought I'd join you, and decided to start playing silly buggers. So I didn't get a game, although I had a good chat with you guys.
Yeah. And Removable Sanity, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you very much. It's great to be on here, and it's of course fantastic to see Pong Soul, the legend, that he's now everywhere. It is great to it's great to have him on here. Hopefully we'll have him on here more often. We'll try and book him, schedule him in. Obviously he's quite busy at the moment. We'll try and see if we can schedule him in a little bit more, just to try and get his opinions on, because we do like to hear about them. For me, I've been playing obviously Back for Blood. That came out yesterday. That's a really good fun game, and I think it's a much more fun game if you've got friends as well.
Oh yeah,
definitely a friend-based game. And what I was quite is it doesn't look like it's pay to win as well. There's a lot of content there. I was surprised when you start delving deep into the actual, the elements that are there. There is a lot of content which is kind of hidden. But it's good to see. And also, I've been playing another game called MechWarrior 5. So that's been kind of a little bit of a fan for me. So, yes, those two games mostly. Just gone
good to hear. Some good games there. I haven't tried the MechWarrior game. You have recommended it a couple of times to me, but I haven't yet tried it.
It's probably best to play co-op. Yeah, it is. It's not like Titanfall, and I think a lot of people who look at it, if you've never played a MechWarrior game, will probably not like the controls because they are very different control systems. But if you like big mechs, and you like explosions, and just like that, it is a very good game. I think a bit underrated. But it's one of these things that you kind of do need to understand the controls, and that's best playing co-op. So people can probably sit beside you and say, look, this is what you can do. Here's what you can tweak to your own standards. But yeah, that's probably the best way to do it.
The movement controls suck because it's twin stick.
Yep.
One for the leg
that's
and
right.
one for the torso. It's annoying.
Okay.
And it's sim. I mean, it's very simmy. You do have to know the mechs. My only problem with it removable, because I'm an old mech fan and I was super hyped for it, and I played it when I first dropped in a Game Pass. But the co-op, not being able to bring your own mech in, is an issue.
Yeah,
I wish they would fix that. Yes.
They are trying to actually do a little bit about it. And what they've just done with the latest patches, you now can. Originally, you couldn't swap. So now you can actually say you've got. For those who don't know, you normally have 4 to 8 mechs you can bring into a particular match. Now you can switch between them on the fly.
Okay.
So it kind of helps a little bit. So if you wanted to, you can say, if you're doing a cock, say, look, can you bring in a Marauder or a Crab? You can kind of help out. But yes, I would like to see, obviously, bring your own mech in. But I'm wondering whether they're trying to do that for balancing. Because if you've got a very big, heavy Crab, you could dominate a lot of things, couldn't it? So
yeah, you could. Yeah,
and I can guarantee you, Pong has big, heavy crabs. Yeah.
I took my meds.
Well, I'm hoping they'll bring it in the next DLC. There's a couple of they have got a good showcase of DLC coming through. They have said they are going to keep doing it. They keep updating it. So fingers crossed that comes in. But it'd be good just to see your thoughts on it, Pong. Now that a couple of the actual DLCs have dropped.
Yeah, I'm going to probably re-download it and try it again for sure. Because again, my initial problem was just the co-op. Steele and I tried playing it, and it was just like, okay, well, this is fun, but I actually had more fun as a single player. But man, it is a challenging game. It brings me back. You can get to some sticky situations with, and you're getting blasted from all sides, and you don't have much hope. So that's the part. It is punishing if you die, the cost of repair and all that kind of stuff. But man, especially the loadouts too. The loadouts are really complicated. Like I'm an old pen and paper mech player from back in the day, so I recognize a lot of the weapons and I kind of understood the basics. But man, somebody just dropping into that, it can be overwhelming for sure. So,
that's why, this is where you kind of need probably like an old farts like us, probably to sit beside you and go, look, for your first start off, go with this, and then try and almost like guide you through it.
Yes.
Once you get into it, I think it's one of those games. Is once you've clicked, you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to sit alongside.
Right. Exactly.
Stubbs.
Is that all the games you've been playing now? Removable.
Yeah. At this moment, obviously, Game Pass is dropping games left, right, and centre, and I am trying to get on there and play games, but with a newborn, I don't get much time.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Always blaming the kid. It's always the kids.
I've got to. It's either that or work. It's like I get to play from about midnight till 4 a.m. and that's my best time.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
I can't do that anymore. I fall asleep, as you all know.
We know. Yeah.
During
if you're not hearing, if you're not hearing him
fall
snore,
asleep by the end. By the end of the podcast, he's falling asleep. So yeah, he's not a night owl.
No, I'm not. Anyway, VJ, how are you doing, mate?
I just want to say thanks for coming onto the show, Pong Soul. It's really good to have you. And sorry, I know you're on camera. Appearing on camera, you've sort of, I don't know, it's going to sound really strange, inadvertently, I'd say, revealed how rivetingly handsome Mr. Tushi would look if he trimmed his beard and slapped on a light. I hope he doesn't watch the show tomorrow.
Pong's blushing.
He is. You can see it.
That's the camera and the lights, guys.
But yeah, no. Hello to everybody on the panel and in the community in the chat, and thanks for having me back on the show, Mr. Stubbs.
You're always welcome, VJ. You know
Thank you.
Cerebral Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Nice to be down here with the little people. Sorry, did I? Sorry, my publicist told me not to use those phrases. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding.
It's up to you if you want to say how many games you've been playing this week, but it might be about 40 games or more. So.
No, it actually hadn't been that bad. I spent a lot of time earlier in the week playing the Avengers.
Okay.
And very repetitive game, including the graphics. I played some Back 4 Blood last night. That was a lot of fun. And what else have I done? A little bit of everything else. Both those two were the main games that I've spent some time with this week. It's been kind of a busy non-gaming week for me.
Okay, that's a little bit different for you, Paul. That is. Are you feeling all right because of it?
Yeah, I've just got a bunch of stuff going on. Accessibility month is this month, so I'm doing a bunch of little projects. So
okay, fair enough. So I will do a few shout outs in the chat. Welcome, Dragon Wall and Dreadpool and VJ. If you haven't learnt this, Pong Soul, even if you talk in chat, I will shout your name out.
Oh yeah,
That's
I watch you enough, Stubbs. I know.
Yeah. Who else? We've got Animated Evil, Back from the Dead, Muppet. We've also got Logical Robot over on Twitch. If you guys didn't know, we're actually live on Twitch as well. Who else? We've got Safu. Who else? We go up the list. Graphic God. Thanks for stopping in, mate. And that's all I can see at the minute. It is. Anyway,
no
Muppet.
There's not a problem with Paul's mic. He's just got nuggets in his mouth right now. So
yeah,
is my mic fading in and out again? Is my mic fading in and out again?
Yeah,
a little bit.
And that's not a euphemism either.
Damn it! No, it's starting to piss me off. God damn it.
Yeah. I don't like to always say it when I hear it. I think he's gonna think I'm picking on him.
I'll be back.
No, if it gets too bad where we can't hear you, Paul, don't worry, we'll tell you.
No, I'm gonna reboot the damn thing. I'll be back.
Okay, dude.
So I'm going to start with this topic here. Now, this Japanese name, I'll probably butcher it, but please tell me if I'm wrong. YAKUZA Creator Toshiro Nagoshi.
Nagoshi.
DJ, help him out.
Toshihiro Nagoshi.
Thank you.
And this sounds like the first time you tried to pronounce Masuko. Jesus.
Yes, this is correct. Confirms departure from Sega. Do we think this is good for the franchise? Because it's going to affect the YAKUZA franchise. I'll ask you first, Pong Soul, because I know you're a big Sega fan and a YAKUZA fan. You are. You got any thoughts on this?
I don't mind it. Again, this is part of the industry, and it's going to happen. I mean, they've been there. They've kind of been, from everything that I've read and I've heard, is that this has kind of been in the works. They've been kind of prepping for this moment. This wasn't just like a, hey, walk in the office and say, I quit today. Good luck. So I think that they've put a lot of younger talent in the position to fill the roles and make sure that there isn't any issues when it transitions. I mean, a lot of the younger staff was working on Like a Dragon. And they also moved some people up for Judgment as well. Lost Judgment, I should say. So I think at the end of the day, this was kind of a prepared thing. And I think that they're ready for it. And again, there's nothing... I'm not one of those guys who freaks out when people leave. Like if it's like mid game and you've got the director leaving and that could be a sign of a problem. But after a game shipped, if somebody wants to move on and they got another opportunity, especially for people who have been in one position for a very long time, hey, more power to them. And I got to have faith that the talent behind them will step right in. They've learned from one of the best in the industry when it comes to these types of games. Obviously, that's why they're so popular. And there's no reason why they can't carry on where he left off at all. So I have complete faith. The main core of the team is all together. And like I said, one of those younger people will step up and fill the role. And I don't see it as an issue at all.
No, so it's a good opinion. So, because well, from what I understand, he wanted to push the boundaries more and more, and Sega weren't down for it. They didn't want to go any further. Yeah,
remain status quo. A lot of times it's like that. Especially when you're having success. Sometimes creative minds are going to be like that. We see that with Kojima, right? That's why a lot of people don't like all of Kojima's games. Or if you do like a Kojima game, you can also hate a Kojima game because he does things differently. And sometimes creatives' minds want to change things just to change things because they have ideas. But when you have a formula like YAKUZA or Judgment that's being successful, of course, a corporation that's there in the business sense is going to say, let's not mess up what we got going on here. We want to keep moving forward with what works. So that makes total sense. And again, if he can break out and go somewhere else and and have that freedom to create whatever visions he's kind of got going on, more power to him. That's great. That's part of it.
Yeah, that's good opinion. I can't read that language in the chat. By the way, I don't know what they're asking. I don't. I've never had non-English in the chat.
Try and keep it to English just so we can read it, dude.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's a fair question.
Very, very good opinions.
It's
there,
all it is. What is? What do we speak?
Yeah.
I think something like that. Yeah, just try and keep it to English, and then we can understand what you're saying, and then we can at least answer your question as well, if you don't mind.
He asked what they're talking about. By the way, that was his question. What are they talking about? I just did Google Translate. It's Spanish.
Oh, okay. Sega's creators, YAKUZA Creator is leaving the studio. What are our opinions on it? Does anyone else want to jump in now with their thoughts on this?
I will, if you don't mind. I think the thing is as well, he may be one of the concept directors on Yakuza. He can't be pinned as one of the. He can't be pinned as the creator because he was part of a team, I believe. But if you take a look at his history within Sega, he's done it since he was a very young guy. I mean, you can all the way back to Virtua Racing '92. He was chief designer on that. You can go to Super Monkey Ball. He was director on that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Fantasy Star Portable, chief producer. Sonic Free Riders, chief producer. Yakuza Dev. Losing one person that has been instrumental in all those games within the company isn't going to make a mite of difference. He's not the guy behind Yakuza. He's obviously he was within the original concept team, but a part of a team. Maybe he's decided, you know what? I've been here since 1990. That's a long time, and I'm sure he's made a lot of money. And do you know what? Maybe he thinks he wants to do something else, but there's been probably thousands of people around this character all his career. So there's all those thousands of people that are also inherent to all those games that he's done. There's a hell of a lot of games if you look at what he's done. He's not just focused on Yakuza. There's everything: Sonic Forces, Sonic Mania. Again, just everything you can imagine. He's been on Fantasy Star Online 2, executive supervisor. He probably doesn't do that anymore. It hasn't suffered. So why would it suffer with him leaving? Why would Yakuza suffer from leaving? It won't. As Pong so eloquently put it, it's what happens in the gaming business. They do part of their role within a game. Once their role is done, they'll move on to the next one that's going to launch 6 years in the future. And he leaves behind him at that point all these people that are so experienced that they can take on the baton. And that's exactly what's going to happen. So no, in my opinion, in a nutshell, although I did drag on a little bit, it's not going to affect the Yakuza series whatsoever.
Okay, it's good. Some good thoughts there. You are right. It's not one man that makes a team or one woman. It's a whole team of people, creatives. It is.
The only time you really notice a difference is if it's the creative person behind the
Paul,
storyline or whatever.
speak up a little bit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, get close to that mic, dude. You're very quiet.
If the mic was any closer, I'd be eating it.
There you go.
Shout
Keep
at
it right in your mouth like that.
And shout at us like that. That's fine.
Jesus Christ. You know what it is? It's not my mic. It's fucking Streamlabs does not like me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I noticed that Streamlabs is the only one I have this problem with.
You sound good
StreamYard,
now.
Yeah.
You sound good now.
Yeah.
Probably because I yelled at my computer and it tends to do that. It gets
just smack
scared
it.
that I'm going to gut it. Anyway, what I was saying, I also cranked up the gain, so you may hear a lot of background noise now, so deal with it now.
That's fine.
Is since he's not the actual creative mind behind Yakuza, the story, the characters, whatever, you're right. It's probably not going to make a lick of difference because that's the only time that it can really change. If it's the creative guy that created the storyline, created this, all that, and he goes away, then yeah, you tend to see a shift in game quality on a story level. But if it's just the guy that made sure the kicks looked right, yeah, who cares? Anybody, So one guy's not going to make a heck of a lot of difference. Yeah.
Okay.
You do know where he's gone, right? He's gone to Atlas.
I see. Okay.
Yes. So Atlas did Persona, Etrian Odyssey. That's where he's gone from Sega. He's gone to Atlas. So he's not gone out of the business.
That's good to hear. That is. Any more removable? Any more thoughts?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, there's a couple of things. I think, I would say, whilst I'm not concerned. I'm actually excited for what he's going to produce next, what he comes next. What I would say is, the interviews that I read was that he was probably one of the more forthcoming in terms of pushing forward ideas. Whilst he may not be the creator, he probably was quite instrumental, from what I read from his interviews, at getting his point across and pushing things a little bit forward.
Yeah,
but also as if you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was one of the main people to push the Yakuza game onto Sega because they thought it was too violent and edgy for Sega, the family-friendly company. He was instrumental. I think he was. I think he was one of a group, but I think he was. I would say he's probably a bit more of a. He pushed it. His voice was carried a little bit more weight, if I should say, be the case. Now, The other thing is also, as Pong Soul said, he, unlike the Western sides, the Eastern dev teams are a little bit different, and VJ will probably be able to give me a bit more help in this regard. I would say he's probably mentored a lot of talent behind him. They're very much a team of, even if he's at the head, he will be mentoring. So just like as Pong Soul said, they will have a backup of a vast array of talent, which he has helped craft and help move forward. So I don't expect too many things in terms of what's coming next at Sega to change that much. I just think maybe, if anything, it might be that there's slightly less risk we pushed, because I think he did push a lot more in terms of risk. So I'm hoping it means that whoever's come behind him, whoever he's mentored, will have that sort of passion and slight risk coming forward as well, and won't just be a kind of yes person. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what he wants to bring. Looking from the interviews, he does have very much that creative mind like Kojima. It's very much, let's see what I can do. I wish to try and go and do different things. And hearing that he's going to Atlas is actually give me hope, because they too seem to be a studio that likes to kind of push boundaries and do different things.
I don't think he's going to Atlas. I want to push back. It kind of dinged on me when Animated said it. I believe the report is he's going to NetEase with 10 cents.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, with 10 cents.
He's got no freedom at all. He's lost everything. What's he doing?
Maybe they're giving him freedom.
I would say, if it sounds like he's giving him, if that's the 10 cent, then I would suspect he's probably been given the creative freedom to do what he wants. And in that case,
maybe they threw a blank check at him.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Tencent doesn't offer freedom. They offer freedom, but you say you can't do this, this, and this, and this. But anything else is fine.
I'm also still trying to get stuck on Yakuza's violence being edgy. I mean, everybody always gets up right after the fight, so it's not that edgy to me,
Yeah.
At the time, yeah, but you've got to look at it from a point of view. They do, certain things were classified as edgy. Remember when the Yakuza series started back? It was, oh Christ! Now it's a help me, Pong. When was the first Yakuza? Christ, it was probably what, 20?
Yeah, you got to be looking at
2005.
2003? Okay, I was close. I was
2000.
going to say 18 years, but yeah, right around there. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
so
2005.
around that time,
Yep.
it wasn't as probably, I would say is a little bit more restrictive in terms of what was being pushed out. Plus, I think that was a time when there was a lot of pushback from the government in terms of the old trope, violent games make violent gamers.
Yeah, look at what hell happened to Pong Soul. I mean,
Yeah.
damn.
He was also instrumental in Shenmue as well in 1999. So
Nice.
that shows where Shenmue, obviously, a guy heavily involved in Shenmue would naturally take on Yakuza and be able to push that out, because Shenmue did become quite acclaimed success, didn't it? Even if it didn't,
became a cult following, even though it didn't kind of at the time hit the money on the head,
Yeah,
but it came a cult
exactly.
following.
Yeah,
and again, this what kind of leads me. I think he's probably he's got the notoriety. That's the word I was looking for. He's got the notoriety now to move forward and probably do the things he wants to do. But exactly as Pong Halter, just reiterating it, he has probably mentored and crafted a good set of talent behind him. It's very much they're very much tighter than I would say in the Western dev world. They're very much a crafted, honed team. So my only thing is whoever comes up behind him, I hope will be will also want to push boundaries slightly, rather than just simply say yes.
Removable. It's actually Yokoyama, who was the longtime series director. He's actually taking over as studio director now. So yeah, so it'll fall right in line with that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even better.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
lots of stability. Lots of stability. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely lots of stability. So, again, I'm actually. That's me. BJ might be having a different manner.
Have you got any more points?
Hasn't he?
Have you got any more points for Removable?
No, I'm out.
So I know VJ will definitely have a few points on this.
I have no real comments on this. I'm not I've never been a big Yakuza fan. I mean, I hope the guy turns out some good stuff, but so yeah, I don't really follow developers and who goes where and who does what. I just wait for the good games to come out.
That's
sensible man.
That's what you want to do. Sensible. I know you're bursting at the seams, VJ, to have some talk on this.
I'm not bursting at the seams, but I think
well,
I think Nagoshi-san's departure's been on the cards for a while. I think I'd like to say that the rumors of his departure have surfaced a few times in the past, and I'm just gonna. I mean, everyone's kind of made the key points, but what I would say that he's been an exceptional commanding hand behind the studio, and I think as Animated Evil was saying, right, he's kind of mentioned about his history at Sega. I think he joined almost as a late teen, early 20s as an artist, right, and then he's grown in stature and in several positions, right, to where he is today. And you only have to look at the demise of someone like also a company. I know it's not a Japanese company, but it's the only one that comes to mind at the moment is Crystal Dynamics, right, and their demise, right. Especially since the departure of Daryl, and I want to say, nearly 6 or 7 years ago he left as a studio head. So there is something to be said for his ability, right, and whoever's replacing him, right, because no two fantastic people that have grown up obviously in different generations, you can say are the same. And for me, I'm a big fan of Shenmue. I played it when it came out on the Dreamcast. I think I played it in Japanese when it first came out. And you guys, well, you stubs definitely know I'm a huge fan of the YAKUZA series.
I'm getting back into it now. I am back on Kiwami. I am.
And I think for me it's a case that the YAKUZA series, in terms of Kiryu's saga across the 7 titles, is now complete. Even though Kiryu, I don't hope to spoil the game for you, but he does make a special and a very welcome guest appearance in the YAKUZA Like a Dragon, which I really enjoyed. And just so we're clear, right? And I'm kind of just I'm just re-emphasizing what I've already spoken, already said. But Nagoshi-san, he, as far as I can tell, didn't direct Yakuza Like a Dragon. So that's a new series, right? Starting up on its own with its own team and so on and so forth. And everything's still in place for that. And I don't think he was even the producer or even the creative director on the project. So that's its own beast, right? And going forward, and that'll be, and that was a fantastic game, by the way, if no one's ever played it. And I'm hoping it's still in Game Pass if you want to give it a go. But and the other title that I liked was Lost Judgment, which I wasn't too sure about when I first picked it up, and that was a fantastic game. And you can see Nagoshi-san's influence, right, in terms of his contribution to the base concept story, which was his credit, right, on the game. And I say that we could possibly or probably can find rumors of his departure from at least as far back as a couple of years ago, and that timing is about right, because he's been doing exactly what all executives or management, especially if you're in the games industry and you have a love for games and you have a love for the industry itself. That's what somebody of his position does prior to leaving a company or station, right, in a Japanese-based company, which is to pass on all your know-how and beliefs. And if you read the article that Stubbs sent, right, he sent those, he actually spoke those exact words, right? And it's something that I've talked about, I think, as far back as last year on about Japanese companies and how they operate. And it's very unlike the majority of, how can I say, I don't mean it's in a bad way, but Codemasters comes to mind sometimes, especially during the 90s. It's unlike the majority of Western companies, Asian companies, especially the ones in Japan. They sort of, they're very diligent, and it's a natural and I don't know if the right word is benevolent process, right, or an honourable process to pass on all their know-how and expertise to the up and coming talent or members of the team, as Pong Sol was saying. Forgive me if I got it wrong, Pong Sol, but in terms of building that next generation of people to take over a studio, and I've spoken, I think, about on this show as well about cultural preservation and how the Japanese on a deeper level see others that they work with or that surround them in their personal and work life, see them as themselves. It's part of sort of their ingrained nature, right, to pass things on. And in the West, I've worked with many managers and execs in publishing companies and developers and so on and so forth. And it really is in their nature more so just to hold on to power or even onto a position, right, out of fear a lot of the time, right? And the inevitable outcome is that as time goes by, wisdom, knowledge, and know-how is eventually lost, and we can all come up with ideas, right, in terms of when that's happened to us in our personal, when we've seen it, right, and it represents or presents itself. And just to Pong Sol's point, you only have to look far back and I'm only mentioning games here that I like, yeah, and I'm sure you guys have all got your own examples, but when I think of Kamiya, the guy that developed Devil May Cry, Mikami, Resident Evil, and when they left Capcom, the process was very similar, and the subsequent iterations of the game, including Street Fighter and even Monster World, I would say, don't have the same teams as they once had. And for me, the latest iterations of all of those games, right, I think I've enjoyed, and I think they've also done exceptionally well, right? The franchises, I would say, have perhaps even blossomed or sold even better than their original predecessors. And the issue is that I've seen some people sort of mock Sega for letting Nagoshi-san, and I think someone else is leaving with him as well, and their opinions of what's happening, because they haven't experienced the past. Playing games on emulators doesn't really count, and unless you were physically there at that time, right? And obviously the new generation are coming through with more knowledge, more and a wider breadth of ideas, and the thing is, obviously, the games have changed. And for older gamers, it's a case of, well, these games don't quite have that touch and feel, that they once had when I played them back, on the previous generation of consoles. But that's just the nature of how times change, right, in a society, right, and especially in the gaming industry, right, where everyone's memories are very, very, very long indeed, right. And even Sakaguchi, I think, is another really good example, right, when he left Square Enix, right, a number of creatives and producers, and some say he left under a cloud, right, after I forgot what was that Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie, I can't remember what it was called now, and when that left. So, and then you had Nomura Kitase and Yoshida, right, they're always popping up, right, and they're the ones that have been driving Square, right, especially the Final Fantasy series. Again, I'm playing Final Fantasy 12 at the moment, but it's just like Mr. Stubbs to ask everybody else what they're playing except for me. But anyway, and if you kind of look at the situation in general, right? I mean, I read the article, right? So I'm taking it at face value, right? And SEGA, in terms of how they operate, and I kind of said this before, right? They're a very, how can I put it, like a reserved company in terms of how they operate. And they are very careful, and they only really have one studio of note. I think they have another one that make another game in the West. I don't know if it's the Football Manager game or the Civilization or one of those sort of types of games, and they haven't really kicked on from there. So then I think it just becomes about Nagoshi-san, right? And I think somebody mentioned, right, he's on the board of directors at Atlas, which is a SEGA subsidiary, and he's obviously, going on to pastures new, and he's obviously moving to NetEase, and I think we talked about NetEase last week or the week before, right? It's the same NetEase, right? The Chinese-based company, internet-based company, and who also. Because I remember, I don't know if it was on Boom Show, I think it might have been, right, where we were talking about, Quantic Dreams, next time was going to be multi-format rather than being on the PlayStation. But he's going to the company that obviously NetEase, who have a minority shareholding in Quantic Dreams, and more notably, obviously everybody knows Bungie, right? So there's obviously something happening at NetEase. They're obviously slowly cultivating whatever they're doing. They're a bit like, what's that Norwegian company that's being very quietly, and they bought... oh my goodness, I forgot the name of the game now. THQ Nordic, but I forgot the name of their parent company.
Embracer Group.
Embracer,
yeah, and they're very quietly going about, expanding in terms of what they're doing, right? And it was astonishing. I can't remember how many. They've got more staff members in development and publishing than Microsoft and Bethesda.
Almost
combined.
300 IP. It's crazy.
It's because all of it. Because in the future, it's all going to be about content that you own, right? And because obviously, actual disbursement of that content and how you consume it, those opportunities will open up, right, as technology develops, right? So as far as I can understand, and I did a bit more digging, is that NetEase actually opened a studio in Tokyo last year, and there doesn't seem to be any major names associated with it other than Nagoshi-san. So he's obviously going there to head up that studio, and the studio's remit is to obviously produce next gen titles as far as what we've been told so far. So I'm really happy with SEGA, and that hopefully that the Yakuza series and the Judgment series will continue. But obviously Nagoshi-san going into Japan and creating a new studio where there's, and I talk about this often with Removable Sanity, there's a tremendous amount of talent in Japan, but they often veer away from a video games industry because they can make just as much money working less hours and being just as creative in the anime industry and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I'm hoping that that Tokyo-based studio, will we hear about in a year or 2 years, I hope they produce something really good, because he is a remarkable man, right? To stay at one company for 30 years, you really can't begrudge the guy, right? From sort of leaving a company, right, and going on to perhaps to an opportunity to flourish or blossom even more so. And unfortunately, it's somewhere else. But I think, as Pong Sol was saying, it's pastures new, right? And it could be the best for both companies, right? Both companies, and as Cerebral Paul said, which I think was a very, very intelligent thing to say for a change, is that, you know what, I'll just wait for the games, and if they're good, I'll enjoy them. So I think I'm gonna sit in his camp this week anyway.
You muted, Paul. He's trying to talk.
So yeah.
Let me just say thank you, VJ, for giving me time to eat my dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to get indigestion, but as I say, I don't really read many articles unless they're specifically for the show, because I don't like the way that they portray certain events, because they can be construed as a positive or a negative, but none of them really want to stick their neck out and say it either way. So yeah. And the other day, with articles, yeah, they do provide knowledge, but it's always important to realize, and someone smarter than me said this probably about a century or 2 centuries ago, but it always stuck with me, is that knowledge always lives in the shadow of ignorance. And anyway, you can figure that one out for yourselves if you don't quite get the meaning for it. But basically, knowledge is never complete. and that's a fact actually. And I just wish that some of these sort of mainstay media outlets just add a bit more sort of what's the expression, flesh to the bone, shall we say? So, but anyway, yeah, all good.
It'd be interesting to see, VJ, if because you had mentioned that somebody else was leaving. It's Daisuke Sato, I believe it is, the longtime producer of that series. So it'd be interesting if they're leaving together for NetEase, like you said. Maybe NetEase is forming, like a new division or new studio, and they wanted some big time experience because you're getting a lot right between those two. So
yeah, absolutely, and. But the timing's interesting because, as I said, the rumors were there that he was going to go. I think NetEase setting up a studio saying, look, we're ready to bring you on board, and the transition is made. And I think that is probably right that the producer Sato, I think you mentioned Pong, has gone with him. And that probably speaks to what Removable Sanity was saying, Removable Sanity and perhaps Animated Evil, the fact that, it's all change and all fresh change. Sometimes it's better to do it in stages, but if it's been done over the last 2 or 3 years, which I expect it has, it's been something that's been a long term in the planning, which can only bode well for us, right? Because obviously Noguchi-san is not just going to pick up and leave for the money, because the money only goes so far, right? I think he's still got. You can see him, right? Whenever you see him up on stage, he's full of vitality. I know the interviews are all in Japanese, but I still watch them with the subtitles. And I try to get Removable to do a watch along with me, but he just makes an excuse that he's got 13 kids or something. But anyway,
I try.
He blames the newborn for everything, and he's gonna soak that up as long as he can. Yeah.
Well, he's 21.
Yeah, I know.
God, no.
Stubbs, I haven't put you to sleep, have I?
No.
He's trying to search for another topic.
No, I always enjoy the education you give me, VJ, because you got vast knowledge you have on the subject.
I just, it's just that, look, it's not a secret. Like, I want to try Back for Blood, but right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 12. I plugged it in just to have a look at the remaster and ended up I'm in about 30 hours in, but I do prefer Japanese video games, so it's like a kind of a topic up my street. If you ask me about Western games or John Madden or something, like I just have to defer it to, I don't know, someone else.
Paul.
Yeah,
Paul.
No,
Hey,
thanks for your takes on that. It was good. By the sounds of it all sounds positive. At the end of the day, it's gonna just have to wait to see the games. As Paul said, the games speak for themselves.
Yeah, that's why that's why I don't follow all that stuff. I don't know who the producers are 99.9% of the time. I don't care as long as it's a good game or not.
It is true. It is. Just do a few shout outs in chat because a few more people have came in. Welcome Pixel Slapper. Welcome Prophet. Welcome Matt Barnes. I'd say Lady Foxfire in chat as well. Judzilla Music. Indie Gamer. Masuku, and just because everyone mentioned her talk, how you doing, mate? And just as VJ said, I didn't mention what I was playing this week. I've been playing Yakuza Kiwami. I'm back into Yakuza again, and that's got me hooked again. I've also been playing new Super Monkey Ball Banana Edition. I won that in the competition, 20-year anniversary edition. The deluxe one, I won it. That's quite fun. Quite hard in places, but it's fun. It is, and I've been playing today a game I was playing with Animated Evil and Indie Gamer and Judzilla Masuku earlier. Circuit Superstars, a new little indie game. It's only 15 quid. It's a racer. I don't know what. It's kind of like Art Rally, but someone else with better knowledge knows how to explain it. I know I'm just rubbish at it, but it's fun. It's about a gigabyte. It's not a very big game, but it's fun. It is. I've just got to learn the mechanics a bit more. And also, Logical Robot in Twitch or in the Twitch chat. All by yourself in chat. There's probably only one person in there, but thanks for stopping in. And I've got the next topic. This is more of a correction on my part. A couple of weeks back, we were talking about the rumored Xbox Series X getting a smaller and cheaper 500 gigabyte storage expansion card. This is more of a correction. I said it was only £30 or £40 more than the 1 terabyte version. It turns out I was completely wrong. I'm only human. I made a mistake. It turns out this card is 500 gigabyte is rumored to be £130, and a 1 terabyte is £220. So in reality, that's actually a big jump. That is in price. It's not the little bit I thought it was. And Safu as well. Sorry. Welcome, Mum Rocks as well. But yeah, a bit of a correction there. Has that changed any viewpoints on getting a 500 gig? I don't think it has, but Pong, have you got any thoughts on it? Probably
No, I'm gonna wait.
online.
I'm gonna wait until obviously they get some more third parties involved. Once that becomes available and the price comes down a little bit more. I think it's a great option if somebody needs it. Again, that 1 terabyte is a little steep, especially if you're going to buy it for your S, and you're paying basically 75% of the cost of the S on that thing. It's a little tough to swallow. Currently I use a 7200 RPM regular hard drive external for all my games outside of the X and S ones, obviously the series games. So I don't have a problem with it. But eventually, once the third parties get involved and we get some cheaper options, I'll definitely pick up an SSD for sure. Not right now.
Definitely. I mean, I kind of do the same. I've got a 5 terabyte normal external hard drive.
Yep.
It doesn't take that long to transfer games over, really.
No,
it doesn't.
And I'm privileged not to have internet cap. So again, if there was an internet cap involved, then my thought process might be a little bit different than what it is right now. But for me right now, it's no big deal.
Oh no, I understand that, because I just got a 5 terabyte one because at the time it was like £80 for 5 terabyte. It was some silly offer. It was really cheap, so on Amazon. So I got it. I did. But has anyone else got any thoughts on this? This changed any minds? I doubt it, but I just corrected myself because I was wrong.
It's not changed my mind. The terabyte is needed. However, I operate a Xbox Series S, and I refuse to pay nearly the price of my console for the one terabyte. So I'm like Pong. We don't have data caps really. My internet is at such a speed I can download some of the biggest games in a couple of hours as long as I'm prepared.
Bloody show off.
I'm not trying to show off. I'm just saying this. It's
saying that it's going to take you a couple hours to download it is not showing off. Okay.
Yeah. So
me saying it takes 20 minutes is showing off.
Yeah.
Oh right.
So, yeah. So I get round about gigabyte download. So it runs around 700-800 something like that. So the biggest games might take I don't know. Well, I'm talking Call of Duty size, an hour or so.
Yeah. Force Jobs is over there going, "Oh crap!"
It's one of those things, isn't it? I mean, the data transfer is okay if you've got an external SSD, but again, they're not cheap. If I had the Series X, I would consider it, but I don't have a Series X because they're just like rocking or shit, and they don't exist apparently. But with the Series S, I refuse to buy the gigabyte because it's nearly. I might as well buy another Series S and have two and just play on two consoles. There you go. It's about £40 difference between. But
yeah,
right.
I also think that the 500 isn't enough storage.
I agree with that.
It really isn't.
It's going to get me. It's going to get me Call of Duty, the biggest Assassin's Creed, and maybe something else. Maybe Halo.
You just got to stop playing AAA games. You just got to play all indie games. Then you're fine.
Yeah,
Fine.
Well, hopefully,
and I'm like Pong. I have a 5 terabyte. Mine is a Western Digital Black, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I may get a second one. They're relative. regular hard drives, non-SSDs have come way down in price still. So it's more economically feasible to do that, and move stuff back and forth if you need to.
I got a bit of a question for Pong Soul, if that's okay.
Yeah, go.
So, look, I don't know if
He's
this 500. I don't know if this 500 gigabyte memory card is a reality or not. Perhaps it's just a commercial test on behalf of some of these manufacturers, right? Because obviously, they're looking and just seeing how gullible, right, fans are, right, buying stuff, right, and perhaps they're thinking, you know what, $130 or something, or whatever the price point's going to be, is perhaps a more affordable impulse purchase price, right? A purchase price, especially if you only need a little bit more space, right, and you're only playing, the games that 3 or 4 different games, right? Unlike the gaming connoisseurs like we are on this panel, except you, Mr. Stubbs. Anyway, but the thing is, to removables point, you can certainly stretch £130 or $130, during the upcoming November sales, right? Black Friday and Cyber Monday in November, so on and so forth over here in the States. And you can probably pick up a few games versus extra memory. So I guess the question I have for you, Pong, and take into consideration, I really wish Microsoft would do the memory card themselves, because obviously the companies that are the third parties that are producing them, which are, I'm assuming, we're all only going to buy licensed cards like from SEGA, etc. Is it SEGA? I think it is, right? So they're paying 10 or 15% royalty fee to Microsoft. So I'm just wondering, Microsoft getting in the game and designing and creating one, perhaps it's not in their wheelhouse, can't be bothered because the money doesn't make sense, and they'd rather just take the ongoing license fees and royalties, etc. But there's an interesting point that you made, Pongsol, was that if the price was more reasonable, what price point? I mean, again, I have no idea about how these things are made, right? And I'm assuming that memory will come down in price in the future. But then we all know, right, with shortages, the prices of chips and components suddenly skyrockets. But what do you think for a terabyte is a reasonable price point where everyone can go out, right, and share and having that extra space, right, on hand?
If you're talking about, like a lot of people buying it, I think you'd have to get down to that $80 to $100 range for a terabyte. I think once you get down there with the speeds of the SSD and stuff and the benefits it does give, I think that's when you start getting into the masses kind of area where people would be willing to spend that kind of money for a terabyte.
Yeah, that's a lot lower than I thought you might say.
Okay.
I was thinking about 120.
But it's always important to remember that the SSD on the Xbox is not the same as the SSD on Joe Blow's little external drive. It's a newer technology, so it's going to take it a while to get down to that low.
Yeah. But I just think from a mental standpoint, the mental hurdle that people have, because you were talking about it, VJ, like, again, I'm a budget gamer, so I've got a certain amount of budget. I can't go buy everything. And there are a lot of people in that position, especially nowadays, right? So I think to get over that mental hurdle of, okay, a game and a half or memory, right? Which is, what you got to weigh out when you're looking at something in that price range. Right now it's, okay, 3 big, AAA hits or memory right now. That's that mental spot where I think that they've got to get to.
I'm totally with you because, one of two things, the majority of gamers, well, maybe not the majority, but, you're either strapped for funds or you keep to a budget, or you have a limited amount of times in terms of how many games you can play. So, I mean, I've kind of skipped over Resident Evil 8 or Village, as people like to call it, or vice versa. And I'm just thinking, you know what? I'm playing so many games at the moment. I can probably wait till that comes down in price. And I'm looking forward to Black Friday. I'm thinking, okay, $130 or $140 because I would like to have the additional space. 500 gigabytes isn't quite enough. I need a terabyte, but do I spend that money on buying 2, 3, or 4 games, or buying some memory, right?
Right. Exactly. Nope.
If that terabyte chip comes down at Black Friday for even 150, 140, I'll jump on that. I will find the money because, I really do need the space kind of, but I'm not going to blow $220 on it.
That's a lot of Mackie D's. That's a lot of Mackie D's.
Well, that's a lot of meals in general for me. $220 is a big chunk of my disposable income for the month. Seriously. So,
Mhm.
you know.
I feel a whip round coming on.
No, I'm good.
Stubbs,
He's
you
falling
live?
asleep again.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. Sorry.
It's either that or he's playing Yakuza.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm downstairs. The Xbox is upstairs. It is. But no, some interesting.
You know, with XCloud, you can take care of that. You know, you just
Yeah.
so don't be
Yeah.
telling us that crap. You know?
Actually, that's a good point. I have to test that on the downstairs. There's an Xbox One Fat Edition down there. So when I've plugged it up to the TV, I have to test that. So if my crappy internet can do it, XCloud has seriously improved. Just for the record, Pong, so I have a massive 36 megabytes a second down. I know.
Ooh.
It's incredible.
Stubbs. I don't know how your wires don't start on fire with that kind of speed, man.
What are you going to do with all that? There's no need.
I know.
There's
Showing
such
off.
a
I
thing
feel
as
sorry
overkill,
for you, brother.
Stubbs.
I feel sorry for you.
There's such a thing as overkill, Stubbs. Come on, stop it.
Well, I've got a thing called fiber, but it's not really fiber. It's copper. They
I was
sell
going
it
to
as
say
fiber.
at 36, it's copper. It's not fiber by any means.
Well, no, what the bloke said was the engineer when he came. He said, "What it is really done." He says it's copper, but he says when they plug it in the green box, it's got a fiber cable in it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's
It's
not
fiber up to
door.
it's fiber up to the
Yeah.
box, but the last jump is copper. That's
Yeah.
common.
More like
Copper to
10
door.
at that
Copper
point.
to door, yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
That's pig iron, baby. That's all that
Yeah.
shit is. Yeah.
It's annoying because when I moved, obviously, when I lived on the other side of town, I had 70
Tinfoil to the
down,
door.
which was a lot better. But now where I've moved, got a perfect house.
You mean
which
to
is
the
not
more
perfect
affluent
internet.
area?
Oh,
You know, then
Next to
a lot
Chippy.
bigger.
You know how many times how many people that's become the first important question they ask when they're moving is what's the internet like? What's available? And nothing else matters. They don't care if it's like half a bathroom. You know, there's no, as long as they got internet, they're fine. You know,
This place doesn't have a toilet, but it's got fiber. Okay, I'm in. Let's go. I'll use the outhouse.
There's a window. We can use that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yes, so we move on to the next topic. I know people were expecting Grand Theft Auto 6 to be announced, but I think we all
Oh, dear
really
God.
knew. I think we all knew it wasn't coming, obviously. Grand Theft Auto, excuse me, the trilogy, the definitive edition, it will include Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. The three games will be coming together in one pack on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, Nintendo Switch, and the Rockstar Games launcher on PC. Who's in? Who's going to buy them? Because I tell you,
Wait, tell them how much it is. Tell them how much it's advertised for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's $70 or 70 quid.
Yeah, $70
for
for
the Series
Oh.
console or the PS5, and 60 for the last gen. So
Fuck no.
yeah. That changed my opinion. I'm going to buy it eventually, but that did change my opinion. And there's also another caveat: if they don't have, because Vice City is my goat for when it comes to Grand Theft Auto. So I've been looking forward to replaying Vice City. But if it does not have the licensed music from the original one, which was one of the greatest soundtracks in the history of video games,
Mhm.
all that 80s music, I'm out. I'm not going to buy it.
Yep.
So, period.
hmm
And apparently, as well, I've read this, whether it's true or not. If you haven't already bought them old games by backward compatibility, they are going to remove them soon.
Oh yeah.
I think I own some of them, actually. I'll have to go and look later.
That value is going to be going
Yeah.
up, Stubbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
I've got San Andreas for PS2 still because I've got the what they called the Black Coffee edition with the hidden scene in it that you could access through a PC. So GameStop would never buy it back for me. So I still got it around. Yeah,
You
so
dirty
I'm hoping.
little man.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wow.
Yes, those
Hold
PS
on.
those PS2
You really did want to see
Told man.
pointy pixels bumping
So-
against each other.
So
Yeah,
I was going to call out as well, Stubbs, what you were about to say. So Toolman in the chat has said,
That's shocking.
I have never played a GTA before.
Whoa.
Which
Oh,
is fine.
Shocking.
Which is fine.
It's
Then
fine.
this trilogy is definitely for you because you will be getting 3 of the best games they have ever released. Other than the GTA London, which was back in the day, that was a top down, that was good. If you've never played them before, it's definitely worth it. Definitely.
Yeah, if you've never played them before, it may be worth it
Yeah.
if you're interested. But for those of us who have played it and played it and played it, they're not getting any more of my money. It's like
not that
Well,
much money.
well,
I thought this was like a $40 special, and I was
Yeah.
I was about to say, 70 quid. I mean, how much of it is really going to be different? Is it just slightly upgrade graphics? Because now we're always saying this is for those who've never played it before. Even 70 is if it's just a slight pixel boost, you're slightly pushing it a bit. I would still be pushing it down to the 40, 50 because they are old games. So unless, of course, there's some serious work gone into these old games, it's effectively emulation.
Yes.
And you're paying a premium price for emulation. So even for those who've never played it, I would say hold back until it's on sale. It's yes, they are good games, but still, unless of course I don't know, Stubbs. Is there something in it that says we've completely remastered, we've done loads of other stuff to it, or is it just literally a pixel buffer?
No, they're going to do the minimal effort on this. This is a cash grab. You know what the really sad part is that all Rockstar would have to do would be to embrace the modding community. That's all they would really have to do. We've seen Bethesda do, right? They could have years ago. This modding community for Grand Theft Auto has been around. I don't know if you guys watched some of the videos. There's one person in particular who has put up some incredible footage from modding that he's done on all 3 of these games, and I would buy those at $70. Okay, I would buy those ones right away, day one. And all they have to do is embrace them, like Bethesda does. And they could have hired just a group of these modders to come in. Bethesda's done it too. When modders have gone back and fixed Skyrim or fixed Oblivion and done all this kind of stuff, they want to bringing them in to help out. That's all they had to do. And they could have turned a huge, they're still going to, let's be real. They're still going to sell 50 million copies. Okay. It's going to happen because we know this is how it works. But at the end of the day, all they had to do was embrace the modding community, have them come in, do the work for them. They would have been cheap contractors and they could have had something really special on their hands. Instead, it's going to be minimal effort, cash grab, because they know they can get away with it. And I hate that part of it. I hate that part of it.
And that's why I said at $70, even still, I'd wait until it's around the 40 mark. There's 3 great games there without a doubt, but
it's
emulation.
Well, Rube, the amount of Microsoft points you've got, you could spend £40 to just use the rest of points.
Now, I've got a question because
I'm saving that for my indie games.
I do have a question though, because these games, I believe, excuse me a second. There we go. Sorry about that. I do believe these games are backwards compatible from the 360 area. Are they not? Yes. I know San Andreas is.
Yeah.
Are they going to be any better than the 360 games?
If they fix the control scheme, that would be one huge upgrade, right? If they bring the control scheme at least forward and make it more modern, that would be a huge get, because controlling your guy, I don't know if you guys have tried to go back and do it, but if you go back and play them, as much as I love Vice City, it's a mess, okay, compared to what we're used to now. So if they do that and then bump the graphics up a little bit, okay, again, minimal effort, but at least you would have that. That's the only thing I would say.
They actually have, because I think, if I remember correctly, Vice City you can play on mobile, so they have tweaked the control settings slightly. So I think they probably, I suspect they've probably, because it's been ported now to almost every platform, I suspect it has had some tweaks to its control system. But it's whether or not has to be, is there anything else worth, as you said, is there anything else that's worth that big price increase? If it is just a slightly crisper image with a slightly reworked control system, remember again, you can buy these games on your mobile. and at a cheaper price, and they run pretty well. If I remember correctly, the last, in fact, I played for Vice City on my mobile. I'm pretty sure it runs pretty smoothly depending on the mobile you have. So, again, it just, I don't know, it's that price, that $70 price. As you said, Pong, it sounds like a cash grab.
Yeah, completely, 100%.
If it was a conversion removable, it'd be a bargain to us. It'd be about 50 pounds, but it's not.
No.
No.
No, and that you know, really the Mass Effect trilogy remaster is the way you do it, right? Look, they didn't go back.
I know. I've got bones for that.
Yeah, but they didn't go back like Mass Effect 1, right? They didn't go back. They didn't bring it to a newer engine. They still use Unreal 3, I think it was at the time or whatever it was. But they did update the control scheme, and they did go back and rework the animation to the peak Unreal 3 you possibly could get, and it did do wonders for Mass Effect 1. Like, that's the middle, like, and that's EA, right? So like now, like that's kind of what I expect. Like EA, one of the greediest companies out there, although they have been doing things differently in some areas lately. That is like what I kind of expect when somebody's going to come out and say, hey, we're bringing these games from 20 years ago back. We're going to remaster them. Well, you know, you're going to call it a definitive edition. Definitive of what? I mean, definitive of the mobile version? Like, okay, well, that's not doing much for me, right? So,
is it like an Alan Wake remaster?
Right.
You know, where they've done, you know, they've upgraded the cutscenes, they've upgraded the textures.
Right. And how much are they charging for Alan Wake? $40, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And
exactly.
it's all with DLC as well.
Yep. Correct.
Now, admittedly, these are 3 big games in terms of time and content that there is there. Sure. But still.
So was Mass Effect, and they sold that for regular price, right? $60, $70.
Yeah, that's right.
But that was worth it. But if they're just going to do the minimal and we're going to talk about high definition 360 graphics again, well, then that to me that's a complete cash grab for $70 freaking dollars. Yeah,
and to me, it's different than Mass Effect because Mass Effect was kind of out of the limelight, hadn't been around that much. Yeah. Grand Theft Auto has been in our faces for the last 12 years. You know, it's like.
But yeah, you're right, Paul. Yeah. There's just like we were talking, like I think removable is. There's a whole, you know, like Toolman in the chat. There is a generation or two of people who have only heard about San Andreas and who have only heard about Vice City and 3 from all of us older gamers, right? And they've always wondered what they're like because they're not going to go back and play them. The same for Mass Effect, right? A lot of people could not go back to Mass Effect 1. Even some of us who played it. Again, I didn't have such a severe issue, but there was a lot of people who complained about Mass Effect 1 this entire time. So to give the opportunity, if you're going to do this, why not give a whole new generation or 2 generations of people gamers a chance to experience it in the best light possible? Again, I'm not expecting them to like go, you know, Unreal 5 and all of a sudden, you know, we're coming out, you know, these games are coming out brand new. But if you're going to go back and do this, just give it the best shot you can. Don't just throw something together and throw it out there because you want to, you know, do a cash grab during the holiday season. That's BS, especially for a series that has been supported like Grand Theft Auto. This is one of the this is like gaming history. This is one of the most beloved franchises. Then show the respect to your consumers, right? Show the respect to the people out there who've supported you all these years.
It's one of the biggest selling franchises across the board, and I think they're curtailing on the success of GTA 5 and hoping that all these people that are playing GTA 5 right now have never played these 3 games before and going, it's GTA, let's buy it. And I think that's what they're doing. They're curtailing on that success.
You know, wait until they find out there's no online animated. Wait until they find out there's no online.
I think that's what they're doing.
I honestly wonder, at this point, I wonder if there's even going to be a GTA 6 ever, if they've ever started even the preliminaries on it, if they have a storyboard.
Exactly.
You know,
Paul's hit the nail on the head. They're doing this as a buffer zone. It's a buffer zone to keep you looking in one direction and asking, you know, is 6 coming out? Is 6 coming out? Is 6, you know, they're using that as a buffer zone.
I mean, I can't remember, but have they ever said they've started working on 6? I don't know. Have they ever said it?
There was a developer interview saying that they were working on campaign. So
and that could mean anything. That could mean they've got the title page. Yeah, we're working on it. You know,
No, that's
Yeah,
true. You
yeah.
never know what's true. The
right.
problem is,
That's what I'm
a
saying.
lot of kids-
It doesn't seem like they've done a whole lot to it, or they'd be talking about it more.
Yeah,
You know,
they would
Exactly.
show it off a
Yeah.
lot more.
Yeah.
It's like GTA 5. It's like the reason it keeps selling is because these big YouTubers, real big YouTubers are in the millions. They all play the PC mods and all the kids want to play it. And that's literally what it is. All the popular YouTubers play it. The big times. Like 10 million, 1 million, whatever. They play it and the kids want to just play GTA 5 all the time. That's it. Literally.
Mav in the chat, you can sit there and say there's going to be a GTA 6, but we have seen no hard evidence to prove that. They're letting the fan base drive the narrative. Hey, as long as the fan base keeps saying, yeah, there's going to be a GTA 6, let's ride that wave, Let's stretch that out, Because that's all they seem to be doing right now. Is they're not proactively doing anything with it.
Oh, they're not in any hurry, Paul, to make GTA 6.
No,
by
I
any
mean-
stretch of the imagination.
How many billions have we made this week out of the game?
Correct.
Is it going to drop slightly? Nope. Right.
That's why the online is going to go. GTA 6 is going to be probably a single player only experience or some version of that, and GTA Online is just going to get reiterated and reiterated. It's a living service now, and they're not going to do away with that. There's no way they're going
to play open world game with lots and lots of loot boxes.
And you know what? Removable.
Is
You're
that
onto
going to be?
something.
Is that going to be
You are-
third person over the shoulder or first person?
Hold on,
know.
you're onto something. GTA 6 might wind up just being an expansion of the online. It just might be a complete expansion.
Exactly.
And they just add some story elements to it and say, hey, you guys can go play this. But we may never get a full release. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that Safu in the chat says, sorry, Pong, but that's all this is. People are starving for anything GTA, and they're going to capitalize on it.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my point exactly.
Absolutely.
That they're releasing this because of how popular GTA 5 is. They're going to say, look at this new GTA. The average gamer who plays GTA, they're going to see it as a new launch. The younger the player, the better. They're going to say,
like,
I need this.
where's
They're going to be disappointed, of course.
Yeah.
But who cares?
I've just got
Who cares
a really
once it's been
bad
sold?
thought.
Who cares
Just got really bad.
once they've sold that trilogy to those people, they don't care. It's sold. It's done. It's
true.
more money. And like
When
you
you
said,
I hate to
know
say it,
what's gonna happen?
Rockstar has stopped being really creative a long time ago. They used to crank out some really great games, and that just doesn't happen anymore. They're so.
I've got an idea.
What's that?
I've got a really bad idea. Yeah, it's all because you lot have just put this in my bloody head. I've got a really bad idea. Do you know what could be done now? If after this 3, they'll do that. They won't actually give you 6. They'll give you a full remake of 1.
Yeah,
I want it.
That's it.
In the same.
Oh, nice.
In the same.
Look at that box.
I want
as
it.
5.
Cowards.
But in 1.
They should just do it this way again. Do the top down. Don't redo it. Just do the top down, but give us high
No,
definition.
I think they'll go. We've just done it
might.
again, and we've
They
now
might
put it in
remove it.
London, and
No.
it's now.
no, not going to happen.
It will sell,
Yep.
wouldn't it? Come on, you imagine if they did number
It's-
1.
especially- all they have to do after that is- All they have to do after that is throw Sam Fisher in there, and they've got a solid hit. They've got a...
Okay. I would love to believe, and I think it's what Mav would agree with. Fun speculation in chat. They are working on 6. Yeah, they are. It's in the background. It's in secret, but they are so far behind because they've spent so much time on 5. It's anywhere near pre-production, anything. The idea is there. So they've thought, we're gonna have to keep these players somehow. We're gonna have to keep them. So make this and forget about 6. It's in the background. I would love to believe that. That would be my favorite outcome of this entire thing they're doing. Whether I can trust them to do it after they've milked us over the last 7 years GTA 5's been out? It's around that somewhere, isn't it? 7 years? Correct me if I'm wrong.
So.
No, GTA 5.
Yeah.
GTA
How long's that been
5?
out? It's been 7
Well,
7 years.
Are we on 8 now? Jesus.
Yeah, we're on 8.
It's
Are we on
it's
eight?
there-
Coming up to that, I think,
it's-
isn't it?
Yeah, 2013. We're on 8.
So
September
it's there.
17th.
It was. I was there or thereabouts. Okay, so
Yep.
maybe the whole thing is in the background, and they're just they've realised they're so behind launch. They've gone, oh, let's just put a team and remake this trilogy while we develop that. I would love to believe that. I would, but there's come to a stage now where I can't trust them to do that. Does that make sense? I want to believe that, but I can't trust that that's happening. And
Yeah.
we've got to think. It's a cash cow. It's become the biggest cash cow I've ever seen, other than Minecraft. But still,
It's become a meme. That should tell you
it
something.
has. And I think that's what this trilogy is about. Rather than them saying, "Oh, okay, we can launch number 6, or we can at least show number 6." Let's just put some visuals on 3 of the games that are old, nice and easy, to keep them placated for another couple of years.
And then we got director's cut of 4 coming next year, and then we got director's cut
Yeah.
of 5 in 2023.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Hell, show
Then you've got the ray
show.
tracing version, 8K
Yeah.
director's cut.
Right.
Yeah. Hell, show me a printed script of GTA 6, and I will be happy to say yes, they're working on it. But
Right.
Yeah.
That's
But no,
that was more what I would like to see versus what I actually believe.
Exactly.
I would like to see 6, but I believe. But we don't know. We don't know.
Is it coming out this year? Yeah.
Yeah.
Stocking
Yeah.
filler. Every parent's going to buy their kids this game.
Everybody's
Just
guessing
so
November
bangers.
because I think November is the 20th anniversary. So I think it's probably when they're going to do it. So,
GameStop, madam, you need GTA. Madam,
Yep.
you need this. You need GTA.
have your kids played the old GTAs yet? No? Okay, you need this. The physical edition of
now the down. Well, it depends
Burns.
because remember, if people have never played GTA, especially if they're parents, they're going to hear GTA and go, "Isn't that the one where you killed the hookers?" So that's going to be their. That's
that
going
was
to.
our parents. Now the parents are like, "Oh yeah, no, cool. My kid's on GTA Online all the time. I got to get him these old ones.
A
He's gonna
lot
love
of
it."
parents, they just don't.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm going to be honest. My parents like, "What is that, the game?" And I'm like to my 13-year-old, "Do you know you can kill that prostitute with a dildo? It's real good. Watch this." No,
Take her
that
a
never
day,
happened.
do
That
your
never
business, then
happened.
kill her for
No,
the money.
look, that never happened. That was never a conversation. I did that for comedic effect. I'm a better parent than that. Okay.
Yeah, next time your kid's in the room, I'm going to ask him. Okay,
Grand Theft Auto was really the only game that I didn't let my kid play. So I had him on Call of Duty very early, but GTA, nope. He had to wait. I was like, nope, not that far.
I don't let my son play GTA either.
Yeah.
He plays Roblox, really, to be honest.
Good. Keep him there. Keep him there, Stubbs. The longer the better.
I'm going to be honest. I let my 14-year-old play GTA 5 because he's very, very, very mature for his age.
14 though. My boy's 6, so it's a bit.
Yeah. So, at 14, that was the limit. But
Stubbs is like, these are the directions to the strip
hang
club.
on.
Let's go.
hang on.
yeah.
Hang on. Remember, people, I'm a good father and a good parent. There's provisos to him playing this.
Yep.
And these are the provisos that every parent should employ to your 14-year-old boy who's going to play GTA 5. Okay? Are you listening?
Let daddy know when you're going to the strip club.
No,
Let daddy know when
no,
you're going
no,
to the strip
no,
club.
no.
Blindfolded.
Two rules. Not in front of your little brother. And don't tell your mum.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So basically, it's the same rules for touching himself. Okay, well,
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Not in front of your little brother, and don't tell your mum. That was it.
Welcome to Caitlin and Mav. Thanks for stopping in, and Retro Gamer 138 as well. There's been quite a few people stop in. Who else? I think that's it for the minute. VJ, have you got any thoughts on this? Sorry, I didn't ask you. But
As a rule, I generally don't enjoy GTA games. This is just me. I've never
Fair
quite
enough.
sort of managed to get on with the control mechanics at a point where I thought they were awful, and I think that was for me further cemented when I came across Sleeping Dogs, and I was totally at ease with that. And I'm still waiting for Sleeping Dogs 2 to come out, let alone GTA.
We need it, VJ. We need it.
And,
Amen.
And
Way underrated game.
And I think that the studio that was, kudos to Square Enix for resurrecting that game after Activision had parked it. But I just don't know why. I think they're slightly too ambitious trying to make Sleeping Dogs an open world game, which we kind of never got to hear about anything other than a small developer interview I remember seeing at the time. And I wish they just went on to make the sequel. And some of the mechanics in that game, for the life of me, I don't know why they don't exist in GTA. It's quite shocking. I do want to say, as a special mention, is that I did enjoy Vice City a little. Actually, I enjoyed it, and it is an exception to the rule. And to be really honest with you, I was quite partial to the release for the reasons Pong Soul's already mentioned, soundtrack, etc., etc. And I'm definitely not going to be purchasing the trilogy. And we are, or perhaps I am, in the minority given the adoption rate of each individual entry thus far, right? And you can't really, from a capitalist point of view, really shake your head at Take-Two, right? Especially if you're a shareholder or a stakeholder or whatnot. And look, even though we're here, right, on the show, and it's quite interesting to see the level of resistance, right, to the triple pack, shall we call it, coming out. I'm sure many players, like sheep, will succumb to the allure or nostalgic grandeur, right, as some of the people have kind of mentioned on the panel already. Unless you're a first timer, right. Or some, I don't know if it was you, Animated Evil, or Pong Soul, that said that, if you've never actually experienced the game, but you've heard of it, whether it's a myth, a legend, or whatever, and now you've got the opportunity to play it on a system that exists today, because no one's going to necessarily go out and buy a PS2, right? I don't even know if they're still about, and obviously the PS3s are not backwards compatible.
So I said that. I said that to Toolman in the chat. Yeah. If you've never played it, buy it.
Yeah. So, and in doing so, consumers will inadvertently, and it's going to, you just look at it from a bird's eye perspective, right? It's like if you look at traffic from a helicopter or from a bird's eye view, right, on a cold November evening in America, right on the highways, it looks absolutely beautiful, and you say, "Wow, look at the traffic, isn't it great?" But if you're actually sitting in the traffic, it's like, "Oh my God, I'm sitting in traffic," right? So it's just your perspective. So my perspective is that inadvertently, consumers are going to continue to sort of buff up and enrich Take-Two's coffers, right, or treasure chests, and obviously the prop up the share price. And if you really take sort of your own sort of prejudices or feelings towards or emotions towards the franchise or the game, if you really look at it, I think we can all agree it's quite a phenomenal occurrence, really, right, compared to almost anything else out there, unless you want to talk about specific first party Nintendo games, right, that especially Animal Crossing and titles like that. And look, if GTA is coming about, we kind of got to remember that I think that supporting GTA 5 and then GTA 5 Online, a huge amount of that team, as we were sort of led to sort of be informed, I think it was either just prior or post Red Dead Redemption 2's release, was that nearly everybody in nearly all of the studios plus outsourcing were working on that game, right? So, and then obviously we had the departure of one of the Hauser brothers, which again didn't happen overnight. He would have had a clause in his contract saying, look, if you want to leave, you're going to have to give 6 to 12 or 18 months worth of notice, right? And during that time, like as was Sean Layden, right, when he left Sony, he didn't remain at the studio or at the company at Sony. He was pretty much for a year or a year and a half or 2 years was put on gardening leave, right? And while Jim Ryan took over. Yeah. So I would say that if you're a wise company, whether you're going to make GTA 6 or not, you're definitely going to be conceiving it, putting a team in place, or even putting a small team. And I say a small team, and it was not 10 or 15 people for Take-Two for a game, or for something like, the conception of GTA 6 is probably going to have at least 100 people on it, right? And if it's not in and if it has been conceived and it's in pre-production, typically games are in pre-production for 12 to 18 months, but the size of something like GTA and the complexity of it, I'd hate to think how long that's in pre-production before it goes into full production. So I'm not saying it's in full burn, but it'll be at a point, because you guys all know there's lots of games we hear about that never come to fruition. There's a lot of games and studios that are hired, even with the green light, from first party or third party publishers like EA and Activision, that get 6 months into development and they suddenly get canned, right? So that's nothing. That's not difficult, right, for Take-Two to manage. So I can conceivably believe that GTA 6 is in development, and perhaps it isn't, or it is to a degree, right? And look. The other thing, I can't remember the exact umbrella or nature of the industry when GTA 5, is it? That was in isn't it? And perhaps that with GTA 6, with the phenomenal success of GTA 5, which, let's be honest, I maybe they had an inkling, but no one really, I don't even think the board members at Take-Two, right, thought that it would be as successful as it was. But they are perhaps looking at GTA 6, looking at what it needs to be. And I think it was you, Pong, talking about the modding community. And I've seen some of those videos and they're phenomenal. And perhaps it has to be a next-gen game, but the install base of current gen is not big enough right now. Perhaps it needs to get to a point where it is significant install base in order to sort of release GTA 6 in terms of financial feasibility. It's just a thought on my part, but I remember, and I think that GTA 5 was released under similar circumstances, right, towards the latter end of the PS4. I can't remember exactly, but maybe someone can shed some light on it. But that would be my logical thought process behind it, without any hard facts, as Paul's probably going to berate me about.
Yeah, I'm just going to sort of jump in there, VJ, and use something you said. Not use something you said, but what you said there brought me to a thought of let's make it relatable to this room, to us. Look at Forza Motorsport. Yeah, let's look at Forza Motorsport. Forza Motorsport should have launched at least 2 years ago. All we've seen of that is from Turn 10. All we've seen of that is a CGI clip of some nice ray tracing video. We don't know when that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because it's a small team. Turn 10 is a small team. Okay, so they've redeveloped their Forza Tech engine, I believe they're doing, and it's kind of the same thing. The guys at Rockstar doing the same thing and just going, do you know what? We've had such a massive success, a massive influx of money on this game. Can we redevelop the wheel? Can we reimagine the wheel? Can we start doing engines and everything? And that's a possibility, and I think I think that's what you alluded to, right, VJ?
I think you're spot on, because so I'm just going off one of your thoughts, is that if you look at God of War, Forza 5, and GT Gran Turismo 7, on all these games, right? They've all come out and said, especially Forza, the Playground Games, right, which I was really happy about, saying, look, the reason why we can launch this game on next gen and make it look, and I really want to see the comparisons between Xbox One X and Series X, is that they said that look, they've released it because they believe that rather than reinventing the wheel now and then releasing Forza Horizon 5 in another 2 years or 3 years time, is that they've got a number of scalable technologies which will enhance games beyond just 60 frames, beyond just having high resolution textures, beyond just loading times, which less, they are massive, modern day conveniences, but we all want to see that true next gen leap. But it's like, again, okay, if we do that now, when are we going to end up releasing this game at the back end of this generation, right? Which I'm sure some of the first party studios have been dedicated to do that, perhaps the Initiative, perhaps Playground Games with Fable. So I'm in totally alignment with you. It's all about what is the return and what is it that the first party lineup needs to look like, or the pipeline needs to look like, in order for us to hit or Microsoft's, and I don't want to take off the conversation off too much of on a tangent, is their pipeline or their promise to release a AAA game a quarter. Obviously this quarter we're getting two, right, with Forza 5 and with Halo. But I think that we haven't really seen the real benefits of this hardware. We perhaps might not do for a couple of years, and that is that is the gap that maybe GTA 6 is planning to
I
build upon
I was more going with, sorry to interrupt VJ, but I was
Yeah, no.
going more with Forza Motorsport, which in history we've always had a Motorsport, a Forza Horizon, a Motorsport, a Forza Horizon, the Motorsport, and Motorsport's been missing for too long. And we know that Turn 10, not Playground, Turn 10 are redeveloping their Turn 10 engine, and it's only a small studio of 100 people, which is how it's so surprising, right? So I think there was a consensus there between the two teams, because obviously Playground Games uses the Forza Tech engine for all the physics and stuff. For Forza Horizon 5, for Forza Horizon 5 to wait for the next Forza to come out, they had to wait for their development process to be released. And that's why I think Forza Horizon 5 has come out before Forza Motorsport, which is going to be Forza Motorsport. And I think that's where we're at. And I think GTA is in the same realization. Forza Motorsport and Turn 10, not Horizon 5 and Playground, have redeveloped everything. And when they launch, it's going to be the most amazing thing you'll ever see. It really will. Because under the leadership of Dan Greenewald, who is a complete car aficionado and a gamer as well, that studio leads under greatness. And when Forza Motorsport releases, I think it's going to be the greatest thing we've ever seen. And I think the GTA guys that are making GTA 6 are hoping to try and do the same thing. And I've got a dog walking around in the background.
I think so. I remember Mr. Tucci, I think he was saying something on the show that he said, look, you know that that the Forza game leveraged the Turn 10 tech. And Forza 4 and Forza 5 is obviously a very popular, more mass consumer franchise, right? So if there is a team of 100 people working on an engine, right, for the next gen of Forza Motorsport, is it? I'm not so familiar with that.
It's Turn 10 who developed the physics engine for the Forza game. It's the full studio is about 100 people. It's so small, so it's the Motorsport version of it. But okay. Sorry, carry on. Apologize.
No, I'm just worried I'm putting everyone else to sleep. So
no, you're not.
No, it's a good conversation. It's been very good. It's
what we love.
It's gone in many different directions, which is good. We're bouncing off each other. We have, but I'm almost
there we go.
scared to go on to another. I don't even think we've got time to go on another topic, really.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be good.
You want to cover Battlefield in 15 minutes?
Oh, we'll be fine. You might run over a little bit, but we'll be fine. Stubbs, go for it. Because why not, right?
Who's played the Battlefield 2042 beta?
Not me.
Do you want to give your thoughts on it?
Well,
opinion thoughts.
Where do you want to start? Okay, so look, Battlefield
Upload, install base.
No, so here's the deal. I'm a Battlefield diehard through and through. Okay, so I played the beta. I think I hit level 18 or 20. I can't remember. Anyways, so I played a lot of the beta. Absolutely. My bias is huge towards Battlefield. Okay. Battlefield is more anticipated for me than Halo is. Okay. I'm a casual Halo fan. I love Halo, but it's not my everything. Battlefield has been my everything. I've been waiting on a modern Battlefield for 8 years, longer than people in the Halo fan base have been waiting for a new Halo. So because of all the bad decisions that DICE and EA made along the way. So I've been waiting for this. Battlefield 2042 to me has the foundation to be a fantastic entry into the series. Is there issues? Yes, there are. Did I personally experience all the issues that everybody else had? No, I did not. This seems to be a cyberpunk situation where some people are having a better experience than others are. I watched, shout out to Fun Speculation, Mav in the chat. I watched his stream, the stuff that he was seeing as far as the flashing, in the shadows and that kind of stuff. I had minimal of that versus what he was seeing, right? So I've seen a lot of that back and forth. The game itself is extremely fun. Do they need to work on things? Yes. As with every Battlefield iteration that has come out, for the most part, I went back in my brain, and my brain isn't what it used to be. Bad Company 2, I think, is the last one that launched without any real major problems that I can remember. Battlefield 3 was pretty good. Battlefield 1 also was really good at launch, but it still had some issues that they had to work through. My faith that they will fix this stuff is high. They always fix all their games. Star Wars Battlefront came out terrible. Battlefront 2 was terrible. They fixed it. It's a great game. It's gorgeous. I love what I'm seeing. Do I think they should delay it? I think that, again, as in the case of Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red, I think that this is a case of the upper management not listening to the devs because their investors are saying we need to get something out this year for the holidays. So I think they're going to push this out no matter what is the situation. Now, they've come out and said that this was an old build. There's also been people with knowledge that have come out and said, no, this was not an old build. This was a September build. So we might be getting two stories again. And I can only hope for the best because as a Battlefield fan, I am very fearful for DICE in particular. If this Battlefield comes out broken, if this Battlefield loses more of its fan base and people turn to Halo, God forbid, turn to Call of Duty Vanguard, right? If they can't maintain that base for 128 player matches and this game stumbles out of the gates, I have a fear that down the road we are going to see EA do what they used to do and disband DICE because I don't know if they can take another hit. They've just made too many mistakes. Battlefield 5 today versus Battlefield 5 when it launches, two different games. Battlefield 5 today, if it launched in the state it is in today, would have had a much bigger success. I think the same thing is the potential for the same thing happening here with 2042 is there. And that scares the hell out of me because I don't want to see, again, I'm a Battlefield fanatic. I don't want to see this franchise die. I think they've got a great plan for it. I think the portal is going to be phenomenal for the community, but you have to have the community there in order to take advantage of it. And I'm going to be there day one, but I'm scared that I might be 3 months from now, I might be the only one still sitting there in the lobbies with 127 bots. So that's.
Do you think, as someone who played it, do you think it was as bad as 4? When
from what I've seen from other people's experiences, yes, not server-wise though, removable, not server-wise though. Server-wise was great. Server-wise was really, really good. Minimal problems. Yes, when we tried to team up, we did have some connection issues, but anytime I wanted to hop in a game, I had zero problems finding a game. I was in there immediately. There was no timed out. There was no waiting. There was no broken server. None of that. So the servers look good. Again, it's a beta. It's different when 2 million people try to jump on at the same time in the same day. But it was broken different than Battlefield 4 was from what I was seeing other people experiencing, and from the few things that I did see, there's some really base level stuff here that needs to be fixed. And so again, it just depends what build. We can only go by what they told us. But then again, there are people who are in the know who have conflicting reports saying,
I have a lot of trouble believing that was an 8-month-old build. Right. I really do.
In this case, then, do you think it's going to do? And a quick question before, because obviously I didn't play it, so I'm kind of intrigued by your as another Battlefield fan. Yeah. Do you believe it's to do with code, or do you simply could it be the fact there is so many people now into the match? It's causing basic level issues.
No,
I wouldn't probably have those basic level issues at say 60.
Right. No, I think this is code level stuff. So
before you answer, can I just jump in? Just
go ahead, Animated. Go right ahead.
Okay, so you're playing on the Series X, right?
Yes.
I played on the Series S, and I had nowhere near that level of problems.
Mm-hmm. It really does seem to be a Cyberpunk issue where some people did and some people didn't. Because and there's no commonality to why. That's the hardest part.
No, because Steel Rain, I was playing with Steel Rain, and he was playing on a Series S as well. And for him, he didn't have some of the issues, but then like the tornado came through, and he said the entire tornado was pixelated completely. Like he was like,
Okay,
"This is the
okay.
ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life." Because I was like, "Steeler, you seen the tornado? Doesn't it look great?" And he's like, "No,
So
it looks
it's-
awful."
It could well be balancing issues
Yeah.
within the code between
Well,
the two systems because
I've
one-
always said
Yeah, go
that
on.
these kind of beta tests are more about load testing and stress testing the system. Yes, they want the bug reports, but that's basically what they do with these now is they get 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 people on there, and they want to see what the system is going to do because it's the only way they can really test a multiplayer system is to get us all in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just think that the gameplay mechanics are there. It is a Battlefield game.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Part of the community is upset because they changed the class system, and we got to play with the specialists, which was kind of, I don't know. After a while, it was like, oh, I can't imagine everybody 128 players running around with specialists all the time if this is the way it's going to be. But again, I think that stuff can be fixed down the road, like everything else can be. But I think the core base of the gameplay is there. The guns feel really good. Now there was other people who said it had terrible hit markers. Look. There was very few. I was playing against mostly PC players. It was like 75 to 80% PC players. And outside of sniping, I really didn't feel at a disadvantage. Outside of getting in a sniper battle with somebody on a PC, then I was going to lose 99% of the time. But up close and personal, it was pretty well balanced. I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah. So, like, I played on the Series S. I didn't experience that many problems like you did. It looked good. It played good.
Yeah.
Okay, I was getting absolutely destroyed. I didn't think that my game played as fast as it should. There was points where it did slow down to a snail's pace, and as I'm trying to turn like this.
Oh wow! Yeah, I never had any of that.
I've been shot twice, but that could be. That could be a lot of balancing between the two systems, between the X, the S, and cross-platform on the PC. I mean, we've gone into a beta with you take out the older generation. We've got within that one sort of quarter with crossplay. We've got the slowest of the new generation, the fastest of the new generation, and the mid of the new generation. Maybe it's a sort of balancing problem with speed in the coding. Maybe I don't know, but what I thought was really weird is when I shot a helicopter down, it dropped down like from the sky like a feather. It's like,
oh yeah. Did you? Well, that's some. But did you see?
Is it?
Did you see any of the planes?
Yeah, it blew up.
Did you see any of the planes when they were doing maneuvers in the air and they looked like paper airplanes? Like this
I saw some of that.
This really drifty kind of look. And then the other thing I had that I saw on a consistent basis was like the stop motion. It looked like frame by frame when a tank blew up and the pieces were up in the air. It was like frame by frame. It was like this weird stop motion effect. Or driving with people. The driver was like, it was a really strange. And then the only other major one that I had consistently was jumping into the 50 cal on a tank. I get stutters. And trying to turn and trying to aim at people was awful. That was consistent.
I'm going to be honest. Looking at that, when you think about it, you look at what I just said. You've got the Series S, the Series X, and PC all playing 128 players per match. Okay. Maybe it's just that was just a balancing problem between the capability speeds. I don't know, because obviously the Series S, it can't compete with the Series X, and no matter your PC might be dragging it down, PC might be dragging it up. There's all those
on those graphical levels, like the stuff you're seeing on your own screen, you shouldn't be seeing that no matter what the other person's playing.
Yeah.
That is specific to your machine. That is specific to your machine.
And I get that. And maybe the balancing issues is because it's all about upload as well, isn't it? It's not all about what I can see. It's all about what I can upload as well.
But is that part and parcel of numbers? Is that the fact you probably wouldn't have as much of that? Or would you have that, as I say, because remember, you've got 128 players. If you half that load, would you believe? And this one for Paul. Would that stabilize it slightly? Have they really gone? Yes, let's try the best we can.
Not for those kind of like once Pong Soul's in the process of jumping in the tank, it doesn't matter what the other players are sending up to the system. His system should be getting hit the graphics that he's jumping into and adjusting and getting into the tank. Doesn't matter about the upload speed. It could matter about his download speed, but he got a good connection, so that shouldn't be affected. So that's strictly a coding issue. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. It's a coding issue between the speeds, I think. And like Pong Soul said, we don't know how old the build was. People are saying, "Whoa, this is a brand new build." Oh, hang on a minute, it's a 6-month-old build. We don't know. We don't know. So hopefully it launches in a better position than Battlefield has ever launched. I disagree with the fact that you said if it launches bad, they're pretty much done. They're not going to be done because it sells.
Well, it depends, because I remember the bad launches of Battlefront 1 and 2, and I never went back to them. A lot of people didn't because it was painful. You know,
they've lost so many people animated. That's the only issue. I mean, they've lost so many.
Yeah, and Star Wars draws you in. If you can't get people back into Battlefront, you're really screwing up. Okay, you know.
The only thing they could do, the only thing they could do animated would be like a future, like, okay, we're giving this to Respawn. Then you might gain some confidence back, right? If you said, fine, we're giving it to Respawn, we're gonna let them do it. That's great. I just have a feeling that, again, they've got a big plan for this. They're gonna see it through. Again, I have no doubt that even if it launches in a broken mess, that a year from now or 2 years from now, we're gonna say, wow, it plays completely different than when it launched. But I just don't know if there's enough time. But
I mean, players in 2 years' time will be happy.
Putting it that
remember how bad The Witcher launched. Remember how bad Witcher 3 launched, and it became,
right. Putting it that way, Pong Soul, it makes sense, and I have to relent and agree with you because you put it so well, and when you say it like that, I have to agree. Eloquently put, sir. And well done. You've persuaded me not to buy it.
I'm just scared. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just scared. That's all I know.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Pong Soul says, do not buy the new Battlefield.
It's
going to be rubbish.
I want you there because, again, I'm going to be there day one.
See that level?
Me too. I'm just making fun, buddy. I'm just making fun. But the way you put it makes absolute bloody sense. Because you've convinced me to say, do you know what? I didn't play Battlefield 5. I didn't do Battlefield 1. Battlefield 4 was really great to me. I loved Battlefield 4. Battlefield 3 was better, but still, and it's launching with no campaign. It could be a little bit. It could be. As we look in the past of it, it could be we can't get on the game. The game might not work at launch. Looking at the past of the Battlefield series. Yeah. I want to pre-order, but am I going to be able to play day one? We're not sure, are we? We don't know. So when you put it like you did, Pong, then you're right. And I'm dubious because Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 lost me as well. I was a pre-orderer of Battlefield 4, and I got the what was it? The season pass thing, the battle pass. Immediately. The day that launched, I spent 112 something when it launched for us. It's like with the battle pass, and I was like, yes, done, easy. This time, I haven't pre-ordered.
Right.
I'm thinking, how many of my friends are going to buy it? Which version shall I buy? Right. That's where I'm at, and you are right. It has lost that confidence.
Correct.
And I'm going to be honest. I didn't think of it until you said that. So thank you.
Yeah. And they have a golden opportunity. Again, I said from the beginning that they had to nail the landing on this because they have a golden opportunity. Vanguard is a mess. If Battlefield is broken, or is having issues, Vanguard is a complete mess from what I've seen, and they're going back to World War II. Halo is going to dominate again. I have no question about that in my mind. Halo is going to be the number one, but Battlefield had a chance to recapture some of those people who went to Call of Duty all those years ago when they lost confidence with Hardline. Some people didn't like Battlefield 1. Yes, it got rave reviews. It was a really great game, but again, old style gameplay. And then Battlefield 5 totally decimated the fan base because there was two very hardcore sides on that one, and it came out and the spawn points were awful, the maps were mess, there was so many server issues, and so a lot of people just had enough and they went to Call of Duty and never came back again. And now with Call of Duty in the shape it's in, and with them going back to a time period which people are frankly sick and tired of, yes, it's still going to sell incredibly well, but had Battlefield, or if Battlefield could stick this landing, they could recapture a lot of the former glory that they had back in the day when it was, at a time, Call of Duty and Battlefield neck and neck, and they could have gained some of that back. Not to say that they will overtake Call of Duty, because I don't know if that can ever happen, but they would at least gain some of that back again. And if it doesn't launch, if they don't nail this landing, like I said, I just have a sneaking suspicion that there's going to be big problems down the road.
The PR out of this beta, do you think damage has already been done?
In a lot of ways, sure. I think people on the fence now have totally decided that they're not going to pre-order this at all, and there'll be a wait and see approach for sure. Yep, and those people are going to be captured by Halo for some, and then Call of Duty for others. People will get sick and tired of waiting around and just say, fine, I'm going to play Call of Duty. And I think at that point you lose a lot. And then you've got all these little games. Again, the landscape of the industry has changed so much. There's so much competition now. You got Insurgency Sandstorm that is actually making waves, right? The Insurgency Sandstorm, I haven't bought it yet, but it's in my wish list. Like, if I need a modern shooter, that's the next one I'm going to go to, because that is actually in a niche all by itself, because that's recapturing people who are playing it, are comparing it to the old Rainbow Six days, right? And people have been waiting for one of those, because we know what Ubisoft has done to Rainbow Six. So that is capturing a whole different market. There's just so much competition now that, again, a failure hits a lot harder than it used to. And that's the hard part. So,
and it's not just about having different shooters. It's also, look at how many games are coming to us.
Yeah, that too. Just pure volume of content. You're correct, Paul. Absolutely.
Let's all hope the surprise comes out when Crossfire X is absolutely amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Let's hope the story and the multiplayer on Crossfire X satisfies us all.
That's a tall order too, after playing that beta last year or whatever it was.
Ooh, yeah. That was painful.
Yeah,
so thinking of that, then, would it be wise then for them to pause the delay the launch to a 2022?
Selfishly, I don't want it, but yes, if what we saw in the beta is reflective of what is going to launch, or they're only going to be able to fix so much of it, but they still know that it's going to launch in a bad shape, yes, I say delay it for as long as you need to. We've seen what it did for Halo. People will wait for a modern Battlefield, because again, we've been waiting. Us Battlefield players have been waiting for 8 years. I'll wait another year if that's what it takes, if it comes out in a state like Halo is coming out, seemingly, from what we've played of the flighting, right? I would absolutely wait. I'd be heartbroken. It'd be a hard pill to swallow, but I would do it for sure.
And that way you get away from the Halo launch, and you get away from the Call of Duty launch, and you get a little bit of space.
That makes sense.
You get a little bit of breathing room.
It makes sense. Plus, also, if you can tighten up that launch, tighten up the almost do another beta slightly to give the people the confidence that it's going to launch really well. I probably would do it. To be honest, I would say do it in March, maybe even June, and then say February, do another beta. Say, look, here's how far we've come since then. You know. You got the old one, now you've got a more up-to-date one to give people the confidence. I think Pong's right. I think they're looking from what online. There seemed to be a slight sour taste, and that doesn't bode well.
No, and all the better if they only needed 6 months, abso-freaking-lutely, because man, they would come out. Yes, we're never really, again, we're never going to really, to Paul's point, the volume of content coming from everybody right now, we're never really going to have a break from games. But let's just say that they needed 6 months, and you're talking about, let's say, a May, June launch in that summer period, which is a hot gaming spot nowadays. But still, you would slot perfectly in. People who have been playing COD for a while, probably getting really sick of the World War II stuff. People who've been playing Halo, looking for maybe a little something. Halo's going to continue. Don't get me wrong. Halo's going to dominate. But getting tired to the point where they might look towards something a little bit different as far as a shooter goes, and you drop in a really polished Battlefield 2042 with all the bells and whistles that they've promised us with the portal and everything else. Yeah, you really could grab a big audience.
A lot of exactly.
Yep. Stubbs, you sleep now?
Yep.
It's past your bedtime?
It's past your bedtime, sir, Stubbsy.
I am here. No, it's good to hear all your thoughts on Battlefield. I did play it, but I'm not a Battlefield person. I played it a few times. I just die and I give up. I've never really been into Battlefield, so I can't say it was bad because I didn't really experience all this stuff. But I didn't give it a long enough chance, really.
Oh, that's fair. Not everybody's Battlefield guy. I mean, that's the way it works. So.
But no, hopefully it comes out and it's really good and they do well, or they delay it. But who knows? I don't know. We'll have to see. We will. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Pong. Pong Soul. It's been really good to finally get you on, and I'll try and make it so it's not so long because it was like.
Book now. Book now. He's fully booked up for the next 6 months. So book now.
Yep. 2022. So let's go.
Yeah. Most likely, yeah. But thanks for coming on, Pong. So do you want to tell people where they can find you, even though it's in about 2,000 different places?
Yeah. We got another half-hour show because of my outro, as everybody knows. So buckle up. No, it's been fantastic. Stubbs animated. Paul, obviously, and of course, Removable, and VJ. Unfortunately, he had to go, but man, it is such a pleasure to get on here with you, gentlemen. I've been watching you guys for so long. I love what you guys do here, and I always love the difference of opinion and the thought processes because, again, this community is extremely diverse, and coming on and hearing people, just have good discussions. That's what it's all about. And obviously, you guys have been doing this for a while, and I love when you guys go left on the show as well and get into conversations about McDonald's or whatever Mr. Tushi's birds are doing or whatever the case may be. It is always a great time to come here. It's entertaining as all get out. So I love being here. Thanks, Stubbs, for finally getting me on. I appreciate it. Chat, you guys were all amazing. Great to see so many familiar faces, gamers out there. I just love you all, and nothing but respect for you guys coming out and supporting each and every week on every show. It means a ton. So thank you all. You guys can find me, Pong Soul, on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. You know the drill there. Follow me. I'll follow you back. Obviously. Look, show-wise, where are we at? We are on Wednesday. So Friday, Xbox Ultimate, Fun Speculation, his amazing wife, Caitlin, who are both in chat. Come check us out Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Fantastic show with the Magnificent Seven over there. We've got some people currently on leave. A shout out to Lupa. Obviously, we've heard from her. She is getting healthy, which is fantastic. We want her to keep getting healthy. Your chair's warm, Lupa, but we love you and can't wait to get you back. And stuff like that. But we have a great show on Xbox Ultimate on Friday nights. Mav does a great job with guests. So come check us out. Saturday mornings, living split screen with my brother from another, Steel Rain, and I. Set those alarms, get all the gaming in, keep gaming all the way through to the morning. I don't care. Look, we're there to wake you up. As Steel says, live, raw, and uncut. We talk about the entire industry, living split screen. Split screen is all one word. Actually, Wandering Dutch over Midweek Mix Up Collective. Shout out to him and the whole crew over there. He's got a contest. As soon as we hit 400, he's going to choose somebody out of our subscribers to give away a custom series or PlayStation 5 controller. So come check us out. If you like our content, we don't want you subscribing just for the contest. We just want you there because you like what you see. So come check us out. Steele and I talk about the entire industry. We go for 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours, just him.
5,
so
6.
It's crazy.
They just go.
No,
They just
we
go.
have not done that yet. We have not done that yet.
Fucking going.
Perfect night of chatting. That's about right.
If you
yeah.
can't tell, I like the sound of my own voice, and so does Steele. So guess what? We go ahead and talk a lot. Okay, that's what we do there. But we have a great time with our chat, building a great community. Living Split Screen, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. Come check us out. Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast with PTK, Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, and myself. Again, PTK is another guy who does great guests. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. PTK deserves a ton more people showing up and listening because we have a great time there as well. Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast, Mr. Boomstick, Double Barrel Gaming. We've got a Hall of Fame panel now on Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Myself, Mr. Boom, Zemi Games, Mav, 3-Bit, and Archimedes is all there on Tuesdays. So come check us out. And then starting next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, that's right, I added another show. Fun Speculation and Mav and I are doing PM in the PM on Thursday nights. So come check us out there, 6 p.m. Eastern. We will be there talking about the entire industry as well on Thursday nights. But love you all. Talk to you all real soon. Go ahead, Stubbs. You can get us out of here now.
You know, if you ever get VJ on Living Split, if you ever get VJ on Living Split Screen, you could probably go for 48 hours.
Oh, we could probably go 48 hours, easy. Look, it's the golden age of gaming, people. Get out there, play what you love what you play, and come listen to us. Okay, you can find me everywhere. I love you all. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Pong. It's been a pleasure. It has.
Yeah.
Animated. Thanks for coming on, sir.
I don't think I can match that. I do a lot of stuff, but I don't think I can
try.
match it. Jesus Christ.
Pretending you're in Battlefield and go in slow motion animated.
12 minutes later. Yeah. Okay. So, do you know what? These days I try to keep it a little bit short. I'm involved with a lot of shows, including this one, Thursdays for GQTV, Flamish on Sundays. Do you know what? The best place you can find me is on Twitter at animated_evil or on Twitch, animatedevil857, which I would prefer to you to join me on those two places there. And all my stuff, when I'm being on, you will find out. Basically, yeah, I try to keep it a lot less informational heavy than Pong Soul did, because my
self-promotion is self-promotion is a must. Animated, promote yourself.
I know.
What about Saturday and Friday animated? Come on, chop.
So, yes, I know, but you can see that all on my Twitter and stuff. So because
no, that the Friday and Saturday one you got to do because Tushy's not here. Paul, come on,
Paul. Let me finish. But because the jury can retract what Paul just said, but because Mr. Tushy is not with us, as I was about to say, you can also find me on Community Game Night on Xbox. You definitely need to follow Mr. Tushy. You definitely need to follow Animated857. So at Fridays, 9 o'clock, we will be playing a game. Yes, get it. Saturdays, 9 till God.
I'm not going to say what game it is, but whatever.
No, it's fine. Listen. So Saturdays every week, 9 o'clock till God knows when, Sunday morning. If you're up for it, come and join us. This week we are playing Mr. Interrupty. Shut up. We are playing PUBG on Fridays this week, and I forget the Saturday games. So unfortunately, I'll post it out. It's not in front of me, so I can't remember. I've had a busy week. So, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Animated. And Cerebral, Paul, thanks for coming on.
The other long sign off. Here we go. Okay. On Sundays, you can find me on Good Morning Xbox with Noof Nukem on his channel. I don't do anything on Monday except recover from Sunday, pretty much. On Tuesdays, you can find me on Retro Renegades, on the Retro Renegades channel with that lovely crew of people. Not really a podcast so much as a chat and screamcast, which is a lot of fun. On Wednesdays, you of course find me here. On Thursdays, you can find me on 4GQ TV with Noof Nukem in the game. And on Fridays and Saturdays, I jump into the community game night with those guys. So there you go. And if you look me up on Twitter, CerebralPaul1, you'll see a link to my Forbes magazine article. Oh, sorry. where I talk about disability in gaming. And also a big important one in about 2 weeks from on the 28th, I'm doing a show on the Xbox Ambassador channel where we'll be discussing accessibility in gaming, and I would love to have as many of you there as possible. So, there you go.
Great to hear that, Will.
That is absolutely awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome.
It is.
It's awesome. So now
And yes, as I was saying that, I started falling out of my chair. That's why my voice got distant. So, there you go.
Thanks, Paul. And we're going to go for the long outros to the shortest outro ever.
That's because VJ's not here to go, no. You know.
Removable.
It's gone quiet now.
Outro.
Oh, wait, if he was to speak, that's why removable.
I mean,
Oh, right, sorry.
Outro.
Sorry, my brain's gone. I'm going. I literally was still waiting for VJ, and I had my head and really realised he's gone. Yeah. Yes, I am nowhere as hectic as all the better people up above me. You can find me on YouTube, Minds, Xbox, and Twitter simply under the tag Removable Sanity. There you go. Done in 2 seconds.
Thanks for coming on. And if people want to find me, you can find me on this channel. Press subscribe if you enjoy. You can also find Midweek Gaming and the Stubbscast, my content creator podcast, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, most of the main download platforms. But if you'd like to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, that would be greatly appreciated. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, everyone, and thanks for the chat, for the support. It's been a really fun show tonight. Loads of opinions and thoughts. And thank you again to the panel, and definitely thank you to you, Pong Soul, for taking your time out of your day to come on.
Anytime, brother. You know that.
Right. See you all next week, guys.
Remember, have
Bye,
fun,
everybody.
no matter what you're playing. Good night.
See ya.